We want to welcome today for a very vibrant, robust conversation, Dr. DeForest B. Storage Jr., who is the CEO and founder of D-Free Global Foundation, and he has with him two special guests tonight. Pastor Trevor Hyde of Berean Baptist Church, located in Brooklyn, New York. We're excited to have him with us as well. And Elder Joseph Dillard, who is Bethesda Cathedral in Decatur, Georgia. We're going to be talking tonight about some wonderful, exciting news with D-Free. And I'm so excited and glad that you all will be able to hear this fresh off the presses. What we love about our Monday Night Live audience is that you guys find out information before anybody else. So we're excited to have you here and looking forward to the robust conversation. At this time, I turn everything over to our very capable leader, Reverend Dr. DeForest B. Storage Jr.
Reverend Sutton, thank you so much. Tonight, as Reverend Sutton has hinted, we're going to talk about two new dimensions of the D-Free movement. For those who are recent in our relationship, let me just remind you that D-Free started in 2005 as a Bible study in the First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens in Somerset, where I had been pastor for 15 years. So from 2005 to 2010, we essentially focused on the needs of First Baptist Church in Central Jersey and the surrounding community. We call that, in a business sense, we call that D-Free 1.0. That was ground level, just getting started, D-Free. And then CNN came along in 2010. And in 2010, CNN was trying to figure out what Black churches were doing to address the financial needs of our congregations in light of the global economic meltdown that emanated in principle from the mortgage crisis that started in 2008. And so they decided that instead of doing a survey type documentary on Black churches in general, that they would focus exclusively on First Baptist, and they ended up doing a 90-minute documentary on CNN called Almighty Debt. It was viewed by 15 million people, but I had never put together an actual curriculum, and I had never written down what we were calling by that time D-Free. So I took off the month of August in 2010, and I wrote the book. The first title was D-Free: Breaking Free from Financial Slavery. And that was expanded and upgraded to Say Yes to No Debt. So we had now the book and the workbook, we call that D-Free 2.0 because we had now more of a curriculum. The workbook was expanded into a leader's guide, and we were working almost exclusively with churches. And through our church work in North Carolina, the head of the Economic Development Committee for the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, who was also the D-Free coordinator in her local church, she took it to the sorority, and the sorority decided that our content aligned with one of their key economic development goals. And the Delta Sigma Theta sorority national became a partner of ours early on. Then we raised a little funds, and we decided long before COVID that we just couldn't afford financially to keep sending people across the country, training churches. It just wasn't cost effective. And so we wanted to maximize the use of digital technology to not only spread the word about D-Free, but also to train leaders, to provide content for churches, and building out the D-Free website along with the $1 Billion Challenge website. We kind of described that digital expansion as D-Free 3.0. And as all of you know, all of our content, all of our resources, all of our events have been free. We, of course, sell the book and the workbook because it costs money to produce those items. But otherwise, we've had meetings that are free, all kinds of items that were free. And along this way, we run into two or three things consistently that people have asked for. The number one request has been, we need something for young people. And Reverend Sutton has probably taken the lead in leading people through content that we call D-Free Young Money. And D-Free Young Money was developed by some of our young staff people, not as formal as our other content, but certainly it creates the conversation, it spreads the word, it invites people who are young to think new thoughts about money. And it still is our major response to the issue. We need something, even in our churches, for young people. And then the second most frequently asked question is, why aren't they teaching this in school? You know, why is financial literacy in general, and D-Free in particular, not being taught in schools? And I never wanted to really get involved in that because as a pastor, my primary concern is teaching people about Jesus. And D-Free was not only a financial ministry, but D-Free is also an evangelistic tool. We discovered at First Baptist that there were especially younger professionals who would not come to church for Bible study or worship, but they would come to church to learn about money. And the very first D-Free website we had was built by a young woman whose boyfriend brought her to church to a D-Free class. And when she found out, not only did we have good strategies for money, but that we got those strategies straight from Jesus, it gave her a whole new perspective on Jesus. When she started hearing about the Luke chapter 15, the prodigal son, and Luke chapter 14, where Jesus said you got to have a budget before you build a tower, and Luke chapter 16, when Jesus said, why would you ask for more if you're messing up what you have? You know, she literally came to Christ, was baptized, joined the church, and got involved in the D-Free ministry, and she continues to work with me to this day. So I was very happy, you know, reaching churches. I was very satisfied with my ministry, but I did feel the tug on two levels. Level number one was that, you know, we have a large population, particularly of Black people, that aren't as churchy as we used to be. You know, everybody my age grew up in church, whether they want to or not. In fact, I heard a guy say, I think just yesterday, he said he had a drug problem coming up. His parents drug him to church every time the church doors open. That's how he described his childhood. But here's tug number two. Tug number two was that our nonprofit foundation has been blessed to have received financial support from various places, some high-level business owners and other philanthropists. But, you know, part of my philosophy and my goal is self-sufficiency. And I believe God has given us the ability to do more for ourselves. And the fourth level of D-Free is give back. So I decided that I would take advantage of some invitations that we had to take D-Free beyond the church and to develop content that not only would be appropriate for schools and for corporations, but be able to charge them fees that we could use to finance our nonprofit ministries that support churches. And so I put together a model, and now what I'm happy to announce is two things. Thing number one is that we are going to have an opportunity for all of our active D-Free partners to participate in the distribution of D-Free commercial products that are crafted for schools. Every state has core curriculum standards, and any content that schools use have to align with those core curriculum standards. And so we have now begun the process of developing the D-Free curriculum for public and private schools that align with the core curriculum standards state by state. The first state is Pennsylvania, and we have a meeting set up for next week. No, it's for this week, to present D-Free as curriculum for school to a superintendent of schools. And that introduction was made by one of our D-Free pastors. And so down the road, what we're going to do is we're going to offer D-free curriculum to the states that you're in. And we're going to sign up D-free associates that can be paid commission personally for making referrals to the people in your area to whom we can actually market D-free content and monetize all of our work and be a financial blessing to all of our D-free leaders. So that's where we're going. I will show you the actual content in a few weeks, and we're building out the business model, but there will be an affiliate option where online you can refer people. And I'm just very excited about that. We also have a digital platform that's being crafted for employers. So we will be selling an online D-free, interactive, intuitive, highly, what do you call that thing? Highly animated for the workplace. So employers will use the animated, intuitive, D-free content to offer their employees as an employee benefit. So those are two products that are in completion, and by the end of June, both products will be on display. And of course, you'll see it just as you're hearing about it first on D-Free Monday Night Live. The big announcement that relates directly to you starting tonight is this. We have called the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority our partners. We refer to D-Free churches as D-Free churches. We've had D-Free ambassadors and all forms of D-Free affiliations. We are now going to invite all of our friends and all of those who are interested to formally become a part of what we're calling the D-Free Collective. The D-Free Collective will consist of churches, organizations, and individuals who are interested in having a more formal affiliation with D-Free, which in the first instance will give us permission to include your name, the address of your church, the website of your organization on our D-Free directory. We get calls from time to time that ask us, where can I go to a church in my area that's taking D-Free? Who could I call to help my church launch D-Free? We will never have enough paid staff to do this work. And so instead of having a vertical structure where people are working from D-Free headquarters into the neighborhoods, what we're doing is making a more horizontal structure where the movement, the participants, the leaders can support each other. The D-Free Collective also will offer membership discounts on all of our products. We've got a new line of merchandise that's about to come out. D-Free Collective will have access to that. The D-Free Collective will ask all of our trained leaders they're interested in being ambassadors to do as Reverend Hyde has done and as Elder Dillon has done, and you'll hear from them in a moment, to actually teach and train churches. And the most important part of this for us is that the D-Free Collective will formally participate in the distribution of D-Free content, either co-branded or singularly branded, because we are now producing tremendous content. We have our every Wednesday Ask the Expert webinars. We'll be having our FinFest in 3 different cities later on this year. We have special interviews and activities. We launched the year with 23 tips for financial freedom in 23. And what we could use is some participatory relations where people not only enjoy the content, but distribute the content. And there'll be some incentives built in for those who do a better job than others. So I could go on and on and on, but suffice it to say that the D-Free Collective is an opportunity for people to continue being who they are, but at the same time, participating in the movement, because we want to be more than an organization. We want to be more than a book and a workbook. We really want to reinforce the concept of movement. We had a conference call with some of our leaders, including those who are on the phone, And they really kind of helped us understand and shape this. And so I'd like you to hear now from Elder Joseph Dillard from Atlanta, Georgia, who gave us enough feedback to help us understand that this is the direction we should go in. Brother Dillard, thank you for your years of support. And now I'd like to call on you to have some comments.
Dr. Torres, you're very, very welcome. Very welcome. Now you have to let me know which direction to go, because I can just go on and on and on. But when it comes down to it, I definitely think this is the right direction, because D-Free is awesome. And I say that only because as Dr. Torres was talking about the history, I found about D-Free through CNN when he was on with Soledad O'Brien. And I heard this brother talking about debt being as slavery. And I was like, who is this brother? And I wanted to get connected. I bought the book. And then when I decided, I had been teaching financial literacy on and on, but when I decided to teach it at my church, this is the curriculum I use. And the thing is whenever I teach it, as you all know, people can relate to it, especially people in church. They can relate to it. And it's something that I believe should be spread, beyond churches, throughout churches, throughout cities and states and things like that. And to have an opportunity to do that. Now, fortunately, we went virtual. I mean, that was an accident, but we went virtual. And as a result of going virtual, we were able to spread even more. I live in Atlanta and teach a church in Virginia. And I think that's so important, because people are learning about this life-changing ministry, this life-changing movement, this life-changing skill, and to have the opportunity to share it and to grow. It's just important. It is important. I love what you say, Dr. Torres. So many people talk about reparations, and you say, well, if we ever get it, I want us to be able to manage it. And I agree with that, because as we know, it doesn't matter necessarily how much you have, but what you do with it. So if we got millions and spent millions, oh my God, for our ancestors. Nevertheless,
Oh, wow.
It's so important for us to share and to spread this and to teach. Yes, everyone's not going to be a teacher. Everybody's not going to be a facilitator. Nevertheless, I believe it's needed so greatly. I know it's needed so greatly in our communities. And for me, church is the first place to start. And there are people who don't know about it, or when they hear about it, they might not have a facilitator in their local church body, in their community. And to have people who are aware of it, people who are already teaching it, being able to go to a resource to find somebody. And that also happened to me. Someone heard about me, and I taught a church in the Atlanta area because someone heard about D-Free, and I didn't know them, didn't know anybody in the church. Nevertheless, they reached out to me, taught the course for 11 or 12 weeks, and we had like 5 or 6 graduates. And to expand this, to me, is so exciting. It is so exciting to expand it, because again, this is a movement that I believe in. This is a movement I know is life-changing, and it's going to benefit many.
And I want to thank you, Brother Dillard, because you just heard him talk about the things he's done. I see Dorothea on here, and I can make reference to her. Elder Dillard, in the 10 years, 12 years we've been working together, has never asked us to reimburse him for expenses. He's never asked us to pay him for his time. And that's a blessing to the movement, but it's not sustainable. And to the extent that people buy books because of your leadership, I want to structure our business in the future to ensure, and it's not a lot of money, for books, but I want to make sure that people who are ambassadors benefit from book sales. And we're in a position to do that now. We weren't before, but we are now. And when we look at the digital products that are going to the workplace, Dorothea from South Carolina is responsible for the conversations we are now having with the state of South Carolina. And those conversations are involve, they started with offering D-Free to people who are incarcerated. They've expanded now to offering D-Free to all adult education. There's 600,000 people in the state of South Carolina who are eligible for adult education. That's GED and high school diplomas. And what the state of South Carolina is talking to us about doing is making financial education one of the components that they offer, D3 being the curriculum, and Dorothea is responsible for that. And it would be criminal for us to have a business relationship based on Dorothea's referral and Dorothea not participate in the revenue that comes from that relationship. And so we're piloting that with Dorothea because she took the initiative. She didn't know anything about this and she didn't do it for money. But I assured her that we can't demand economic justice from others if we don't treat each other in an economically just way. And so I want to thank you, Brother Dillard. Thank you, Dorothea, and all of you who have volunteered. But I think we can build a business while we lead a movement. And I've asked God to show me the way. I've asked God for the strength. You know, I retired from pastoring. I didn't plan on working this hard. But I believe right this minute, God has placed the right people in our path and on our team to create something where we can do good and do well at the same time. So thank you. Brother Hyde, you've been doing some teaching for us online, and you've helped me think through the way we build out this model. Talk about your experience with D3, and then I'll tell you something about D3 that you don't even know.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Soares, for having me on tonight. Thank you, Elder Dillard, for your contributions to this conversation. So personally, starting with D3 now, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I have personally been out of credit card debt for the last 5 years. And that's before I even got a chance to finish the curriculum. After you go through step 1, it will literally bring tears to your eyes and convict you about what it means to address some of the mess in your life. And so for me personally, it has transformed my life. I took my church through this curriculum. In fact, Dr. Soares, we're going to make this a part of our new membership process, that one of the steps in becoming a member at Berean is that you will go through the 4 stages of D3, and I've been able to truncate that through the leadership and help of Reverend Sutton. I've been able to teach D3 in 3 sessions. Some of you may have already gone through it. So you can teach it in 12 steps. You can teach it in 3 steps, depending on your comfortability with it. But we're going to add that into our new membership process to make sure that everyone that is coming through our church understands what the expectations are around not just paying your tithes, right? We can talk about the 10, but man, D3 really helps us to understand the 90. You can't get to the 10 if you're jacking up the 90. And so D3 has really been a blessing in helping us to do that. I've taught this curriculum in New Jersey Baptist Convention. I've taught it in seminary. This became already a course that was taught in seminary to help the graduates get through some of the financial realities that they needed to get through. And so we've done a lot of partnerships already, and I've been fortunate to teach some of those. And so I'm excited about this collective. I'm excited about the work. I cannot impress upon you how much D3 actually works. I have read a lot of books. I've seen a lot of things. I've been in banking for 15 years prior to full-time ministry, but I have not seen anything so easily digestible, so customizable that you can fit it in any institution, put it in anyone's hands, and it becomes a weapon for transformation. And so, Dr. Soares, thank you for taking me on this journey personally. Thank you for allowing me to be an ambassador, a teacher of this curriculum. And I'm really hoping that everyone on this line does your best to spread the news about D3, because it will not only change your life. My family is going to go through this. We're going to go through this another time as a family, doing our own sessions. And so please, please, please spread this word. We're excited about where it's going. I have people asking Dr. Soares in the Brooklyn section about schools and getting that into schools. And so whenever that rolls around on this side of town, we'll be ready to go. And so I'm excited and looking forward to seeing what's next with D3.
Yeah, that's great, Trevor. Thank you. Let me say this to you first. That is that one of your online experiences when you led people through a 3 session D3 experience. One of your students was a PhD who teaches personal finance at a prestigious university. And that person, after having taught personal finance at this university, told me directly that after going through your 3 weeks, they recognized what they had been missing in all 30 years of their teaching personal finance. And they asked permission, my permission, to use the content that you used in teaching other people, because now that they're retired, they want to start teaching D3 the way you taught it, instead of teaching personal finance the way you've been teaching it at this university. So I want to congratulate you for being so effective. The other thing I want to say to you is that, you know, we are now, and everyone should know this, we're updating the workbook right now. The workbook is available in print form. And the two updates are these. Number one, we're updating the data. Some of the data is dated. And so we're working now on updating all the data in the workbook. We're adding some things. You know, there was no Cash App when the workbook came out. There was no Affirm when the workbook came out. So there are a number of new developments in the world of finance that didn't exist when the workbook was written. So we're updating the data and we're updating some of the content. And then the workbook, to make it even more affordable, is going to be offered as an online fillable PDF to reduce the amount of money people have to pay for it and increase the way they can use it. And that'll be, as soon as we're able to announce that, we will. I want to say a word about the D3 Collective, but before I do, understand that every Monday night that we have Monday Night Live, we're going to showcase a local organization, sorority chapter, church, or other group, and make every Monday Night Live inclusive of putting a spotlight on a specific ministry somewhere, because you'll never know. You'll never know what a local ministry is doing or a local chapter is doing that will spark an idea for you to do what they're doing where they're doing it. And so Monday Night Live is going to focus and feature local activists, local leaders, local D3 Collective members. And we're looking forward to promoting what you do and hearing from you. Even the participants in your D3 program will be available to come on. So I don't know where this expression being D3 with the time came from. I understand what it means, and I'm going to buy into it. We have 17 more minutes to devote to our time together. And Angela or Joshua, what I'd like to know is if we have any questions. You know, I don't read chat while we're doing this because I get all confused. But if we have a comment, Shonda, you've got the questions.
I'm on the chat, and I just want to make sure that you've been given a lot of information tonight, and we are very excited about the direction in which D3 is going. We're excited to have you and your ministry or your organization as part of our Monday Night Live show. So are there any questions? We want to be able to ask any questions, and we want to make this time available to talk about the D3 Collaborative. You've heard a lot of information. What is the D3 Collaborative? You've heard about what our ministry collective. What are the members' activation and what are the benefits and how can I join and who can join? So if that's you tonight, we want to hear about it. We're going to check the chat for questions. We've seen a lot of positive comments about how well exciting people are. This is great news. I know we want to hear from Dorothea. I see you, Miss Bernique. You're excited about the expansion of the D3 movement. I know you've been a part of it from the inception. So there's anything you'd like to add? Let me see. Okay, so we have links in the chat as well. So if you are interested in becoming a part of the D3 Collective, please be sure to click the link on the chat. Let's see what's in the chat. Lots of positive comments. I see a couple of new messages. Is there going to be a cost to join the collective?
Yeah, the expectation is that to be a member of the D3 Collective, you're committing to making a financial donation to the foundation, and the minimum donation is $1.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, we've got another question in the chat. It says, would we be able to connect with Pastor Hyde to learn how to condense the sessions? So we have two options. You can also, I'm sure Pastor Hyde would be available. However, you can also connect with our D3 team, who is ready and able to share with you the different syllabuses that we have, or syllabi. Is it syllabuses or syllabi?
Syllabi.
Syllabi, and share with different ways of being able to shorten the program or abbreviate the program, whatever works best for you. The one thing that we love about D3 is that it is customizable. So whatever you need in your congregation or your organization, we have. So we want to make sure that you're able to connect with us. The link will be in the chat for our email to be able to connect with the team. I think it's info@myd3.org. And also Pastor Hyde is available. I don't want to speak for you too much, Pastor Hyde. You want to join in?
Sure, I'm available to help however I can. Ultimately, I take my marching orders from the D3 team in reference to that. But however I can be helpful in helping you to craft or customize or helping you to understand your context, I make myself available through D3.
Excellent.
Yeah, the session that Reverend Hyde talked about were created in collaboration with our team. And Reverend Hyde presented that information, and our team is in fact a team committed to helping people customize and adapt D3 content to the environment. Let me say this, however, while you can introduce people to the content of D3 in 3 weeks, you can't lead people through the process in 3 weeks. For instance, to the D3 process is tracking your spending for a month. You can't track your spending for a month in 3 weeks. And so the 3-week strategy is good for leaders to give them an orientation on what the content is. It's good for people who are just curious about what D3 is. But the reality is very few people are going to achieve the ultimate goal of financial freedom after having gone through a D3 3-week experience. So just be real clear on that. In fact, it took me more than 3 years to accomplish what I did, but when I started 31 years old. So we have to be upfront about that, because if we're not upfront about that, people have expectations that the content can't deliver.
Dr. Soaries, thank you so much for bringing that point to our attention. I think sometimes people look so quick for the one-stop shopping. And so I'm glad that you elaborated on that and you made it clear. So thank you so very much. We also want to draw your attention to the chat and let you know that the D3 Collective PDF is in the chat. So if you want some more information, you can go ahead and download that D3 Collective. It's a snapshot of what we talked about tonight, but we're still here and open for questions. We want to give you some more information before we head out, but we want to make sure that all questions are answered. I see a lot of folks on here that have been doing D3 for quite some time. Danielle Nelson, I see Nikki Gentry. Are there any questions you guys may have had from a historical perspective? Any questions tonight? We just want to make sure that we are here. Are you prepared to share about the app? That is a question that is in the chat.
Yeah, I am prepared to share about it. We have a team of developers writing code, doing animation. We've recorded a whole series of videos with people that will be physical, live, not live, but actual people inside the platform. And let me talk about technology just on a very high level. What we're developing is a learning experience that is what you might call mobile first, as opposed to a mobile app. The distinction is it's almost indiscernible once you get inside, but from a business development perspective, and all of you who have apps know this, when you build a mobile app, the app all by itself is one project, and then the content behind the app is a different project. That's why apps have different versions. You have to keep doing the app. It was not advisable to develop a D3 app, but when you see the content, which you will see I'm almost sure I'll give you a demo at the next Monday Night Live because we're about 2.5 weeks away from completion. It is designed to be used on a mobile device primarily, and once you get in, accessing it is just as easy as an app. So it's really, it's a learning experience platform that's mobile first, as opposed to a mobile app. It's a technical distinction, but I just wanted to say that.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Dr. Soares, there's another question in the chat. I want to know, can it be co-branded? Can that be co-branded, either the collaborative or, excuse me, the collective or the app? Can it be
Yeah,
co-branded?
there will be multiple co-branding opportunities. And there will also be opportunities for white labeling. And what white labeling basically means is that we work out a business relationship with a third party, and they take our content and put their name on it and take our name off. And it becomes offered, it's offered by them, even though it's created by us. So there'll be white labeling and co-branding opportunities, both.
That's incredible. We hope that you will take advantage of this opportunity to join the collective tonight. If you take a look at the chat, there is a form that's available to all of you to join the collective. There are steps to join. There's a link that's in there. If you go ahead and click on that link, it'll take you directly to the form so you can join tonight. Again, it's hot off the presses. No one else knows. You guys are our first audience, and we want to make sure that we always make sure that our Monday Night Live family knows about anything that's coming D-Free, all things D-Free first. And so we want to make sure that you have privilege and you have opportunity to join. So if you'll take a look at the chat, there's a form that says take the step to join the collective. And then there's another form that introduces you to our directory and how to join the collective. So lots of links in the chat. Remember, we told you to check the chat often for those links, and they're in there. Thank you so much. I see Danielle has no questions at this time, but she's been sharing it in her own way, respectively. And we thank you so much for always doing what you do, Danielle Nelson. If you need any more assistance, if you have any more questions, now is the time to do it. You have our CEO and founder. You have two very experienced ambassadors for D-Free Global Foundation. So if you have any questions, we want to keep the floor open for questions before we end our session. So are there any other questions, or do you need further assistance? Again, those links are in the chat. We want to encourage you to do so. So excited about the app, so excited about the collective, so excited about all the wonderful things that are taking place through D-Free Global Foundation. Many ways to do D-Free digitally. Isn't that incredible? You know, at a time when folks could just easily shut down, we've made opportunity for you to engage your audiences digitally and virtually. And so we want to encourage you to continue to do so. So many of you have graduated. And if you are interested in being a part of Monday Night Live, if you have a group or organization that you want to highlight, feel free to drop that in the chat as well. And we'll look forward to having you on and featuring your team. Any other questions while we have these wonderful, capable gentlemen available to us? Any questions?
So Sean, let me add this because someone's going to want to know the difference between the D-Free Online Academy, which everyone probably already knows about, and the D-Free Digital Learning Experience. The key difference is that the Online Academy mirrors the book and the workbook in terms of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. In fact, it really assumes that the online resource, the D-Free Online Academy, is really a supplement to the book and the workbook. The D-Free Digital Learning Experience is the next level, and it's an alternative to the D-Free Online Academy curriculum. And here's the key difference. When you join the D-Free Online Academy, you're going to start at level 1. One of the other concerns people have had, especially people who are outside of the physical space of the organization of the church, is that many people don't perceive themselves as being on level 1. Many people are not on level 1. And many people don't want to start on level 1. The D-Free Digital Learning Experience is going to allow people to decide where they should begin. And so upon entering the learning space, the welcoming process is going to be intuitive enough to ask you 2 or 3 questions and then take you to the area that you're primarily interested in. Now, we find that when we're live, we find that in a church where we have a D3, we might be at step 4, but people have questions about step 8. We might want to talk about credit cards, and people want to talk about investments. Well, the digital platform is going to be intuitive enough to find out what your priority is. Everything will be available to you, but you'll be able to slice and dice the curriculum and literally turn the D3 curriculum into what you need it to be for you. And so the process uses technology to help you craft an experience for yourself, as opposed to following the script the way it's laid out in a very flat D3 online academy platform. That's one of the key, it's not the only difference, but it's the key difference between having an online course and an online experience that could be personalized.
That is such an important distinction to let everybody know that you can customize, you can personalize your D3 experience. That is such a gift to all of us. There's so many people that can hone in and create this customizable experience. And so we want to encourage you to do so, particularly through our digital space. I see some more things coming in the chat. I just want to make sure we cover everything. There's someone that's downloading a introductory flyer for their clientele. They want to know if there's a way to get info through a code. Do we have a code? I'm
Not yet.
A QR
Not
code?
yet.
Not yet?
Join the collective and you'll get access to all the information.
Absolutely. Yes, you would email info@mydfree.org, info@mydfree.org. This is wonderful. We are very excited about all of you who are happy to be a part of the D3 Collective. We want to make sure that you share it with your networks, that you share it with your teams, that you share with your organizations, your sororities, fraternities, your churches. We want to make sure that everyone is a part of this exciting new initiative through D3 Global Foundation. I'm so grateful to have Dr. Soaries here to be able to share with us. There's a new link that's been dropped in the chat, so please make sure you join the correct way. You can contact us at 844-693-3733 or info@mydfree.org. That's about the D3 Collective. That's about the D3 Online Academy. Any questions, if you'd like to start a D3 ministry in your church, or if you'd like to be a part of the D3 family, please be sure to contact us at those numbers and emails. We're happy to have you with us tonight, and we hope you will join us again for our next Monday night live session. In the meantime, thank you again, Dr. Soaries. Thank you, Elder Dillard. And thank you so much, Reverend Trevor Hyde, for joining us tonight and being able to share such wonderful information. And thank you to all of you. It's not lost on us that you could be anywhere tonight, but you saw fit to be able to spend some time with us and learn more about D3. And so we're excited about it and we're happy to have you. We look forward to the next time, same Zoom link.
God bless y'all.
God bless
Thank
you, everyone. Good night.